Hello snowboarders of the internet, I'm your host Avran LeFeber, and in this video we're going to break down the Bataleon Rave, a new boot for this season. We're going to go through a bunch of its features and what you can expect from it. Now, if you are shopping online, which I do not recommend for boots, we do have affiliate links down in the description below, so that way you don't have to go hunting for them yourself. Remember, the best boot is the one that fits your foot and fits your needs. Make sure that you are sized properly and you're in the boot that fits your foot and fits your needs. If you're in a boot that doesn't fit your foot or fit your needs, you're going to have a bad time. And if you're going to a shop to just try on boots and then order them online, you're an asshole. Don't be one of those people. If you're going to try it on there, buy it there. Be respectful. Don't waste their time. With the shell of this boot, you do have a rubber molded toe cap, so you're going to notice that there's actually 3 pieces to this. This is going to be more durable. You're going to be able to hack at this, not have it come across. There's less likelihood of seams blowing apart. You do have a double stitch seam holding in the tongue and the eyelets for the lacing system, but on the side here, you're going to notice that you really don't have a seam when your toe strap comes down. So even if you got that last click syndrome and you're really cranking it down, this shouldn't crease it as easily as other boots. Now you do have a small molded back spine. This doesn't come up all the way, so this isn't going to give you a lot of rigidity in the back. This is going to break in. You're going to probably end up with a flex point right above this. Now, one of the cool things is you do have these pull handles back here. So if you're one of those people that has problems getting in the boots, you got the one on the tongue as well, but you can basically grab it and pull. Also, for those of you with big calves, you got the Cankalator 5000 back here. Basically, you got this stretchy neoprene elastic here, so this will push back. So those of you guys with bigger calves, that's something to consider. The ankle articulation does sit a little bit higher as well. So when you flex into this, you're going to notice that it's kind of above the instep. So if you have instep pressure and whatnot, this is going to really change a lot of that. And that's just one of those things that it kind of works in conjunction with the dual BOA on it as well. Now, Bataleon claims this is a middle of the road boot. I would agree. It is a middle of the road boot. Obviously, a boot is only going to get softer after you try it on. So the more you wear it, the softer it gets. And if you're like, say, a 6 foot tall, 200 pound guy in a size 10, you're going to flex it different than a guy that's 5'6" in a size 10. It's just the way that things work. So take that into consideration when you're considering boot flex on a boot. With the lacing options on this, it is dual BOA. That lower one only controls these 2 eyelets here. That means that the ankle articulation is actually working in conjunction with the upper on this. So that's going to provide just a different fit in there. In my opinion, I think that you actually want to bring the lower up one, so that way one's holding the upper, one's holding the lower. You're not just tightening down here, and then this actually controls that ankle articulation. And you do have the nylon cable in there instead of the steel cable, so there is a little bit more give in there with that. You have a drawstring internal harness on this. It does come up a little bit higher than some other boots, so that's just going to tighten right around. And the nice thing with it being sewn into the shell of the boot is when you really crank it, it pulls everything around it. It does have a very easy to use release tab on there, so you can slide this down, release it however you need. With the outsole of this boot, it is Bataleon's Sure Grip outsole. This is foam and rubber mix in there. It sits a little bit higher. You're going to notice that right away. And this thing's aggressive. Like, this is a firm sole. There's a little bit of give in the middle, but not as much as other brands out there in this same category. So this is just something to consider. And when you're riding over chop, chunder, death cookies as well, this is going to help dampen just all of that kinetic energy coming up from underfoot. All right, so we're about halfway through this video. I'm not sure where I'm edited in yet, but why don't you go give it a thumbs up, and while you're down there, subscribe, click the bell, get those notifications. That way you're not missing any of the programming we've got coming out for you. The Rave does feature Bataleon's heat moldable premium liner, and This is a solid lightweight liner. There's not a lot of added weight to it, and there's some really cool features going on with it. With the toe, you've got the toe hugger. This is a more malleable foam. This is going to push out. You're going to notice that. And then in the back of the heel, you've got that similar foam in there. This is a little more dense than what's on the toe, but if you've got like a bunion or a spur or something in there, this will help push it up. One thing to note is the big seam here and here. Those you may feel if you have a more sensitive foot. The other thing is this liner has more open area in it. So if you got a thicker foot, you're going to notice this. If you got a thinner foot, you might need something to suck up the volume on this. You do have like a softer foam and neoprene around the top of the calf, and then it gets to a harder foam underneath it. This is just going to allow it to bulge out a little bit more if you do have like a bulkier calf muscle, or like across your shin, that muscle as well. Internally, you got this nice Velcro that holds it in. You do have these J-bars, and these are kind of aggressive in there. It does have a little bit more of a U shape than a V shape. It's not quite like a big wide V, but it's not a super narrow. It's more like an average or slightly wider heel pocket in there. And then on the tongue of this is something cool that Nidecker does. They put a more malleable foam in this little pocket right here. And what this actually does is it allows for the flexion of your foot in there to work better. So instead of like having uniform foam across there, when you flex into it, it bulges here. This creates a flex point and it allows it to just sit in there tighter. So you're going to be able to crank that harness tighter and have it really hold the heel down. You do have that back spine with the C-bar connected to it as well, so that your heel pocket is there. And one thing that I will say is the stock insole in this is a joke. You're probably going to want an aftermarket one if you ride more than 5 days a year. And you want to find something that's going to allow you to line up inside of this so that you're sitting perfectly in that heel pocket. This is the stock insole. This is nothing. Replace it. You do not need this at all. Measuring the sole of this boot comes in at about 11 3/4. With this being a size 10 or 28 Mondo point, that means that you're actually gaining about 1.5 inches on the sole length. Measuring the width of the shell at its widest point, this comes out to, so that's about 4.5 inches wide at the forefoot. Measuring this with the liner in, it's about 11, just past 11.5 on the back. On the front, it's right around 11. Measuring this without the liner in, the back of this boot is just under 11.5 at the top of the cuff. At the tongue, it's about 10 3/4. Measuring the liner at the widest point at the 1 inch mark. Get that lined up nice and tight. It is 4 inches across, which is about average width for most other snowboard boots. Like what we're doing over here? Want to support us further? Swing on over to Angry Snowboarder VIP and become a member. Sure, I could tell you more here, but I got a video over there that explains it so much better. This is the second year that Batalion's done boots. The Rave is a new boot for them, and you can tell that they put some thought into this and that there's some solid design work in it. It's not the stiffest boot out there, but it's also not the softest. It's in that mid-flex range, and looking at how this is built and how the shell is, I think between 30 and 50 days, it's going to retain that flex, but after that, it's going to start to break down just like any other boot would. It does have a little bit of a thicker instep to it. So like if you got a higher instep, you should be okay in this boot unless it's ultra high. And it's a little bit wider in the heel, so it's almost a U shape in there. I did get a little bit of play side to side in the boot, but I wouldn't say it's wide. It might be like slightly wider than an average width foot, but that's nothing in there. But by and large, I've been really impressed with what Bataleon is doing with their boots, and these look solid. And obviously the best boot's the one that fits your foot and fits your needs. But for what this is, there's really not too much to be concerned about that's bad. I mean, obviously if it fits you, that's what you want, but looking at it, like, they spent the time to make a good all-around boot. All right, so hopefully we went through the Bataleon Rave for you. We've talked about the features and what you can expect from this boot. If you don't feel it's the boot for you, why don't you go watch one of our other boot breakdowns?